Morning, everybody. It is 8:12 a.m. and it's December 21st. Welcome to my channel. Big sell-off yesterday. Finally got the pullback or correction. This market was overextended and due for a pullback, and we got it. I mean, people are saying there was no news. Some people are saying it was the bond market, the 20-year bond auction. Doesn't matter. The market did pull back to some key levels, and now we have possible pullback for the Santa Claus Rally that could possibly fuel the move higher. Okay, because we're off the lows today. A lot of things are up, so we have to see. Good morning, Chief. We have to see what happens here. Okay, we'll get into it. Sorry about that. All right. So without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the market, along with gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, and the most traded price of the year, the month, and the week, and the preceding day. All define structure in this market. Okay. Levels I talked about yesterday was that week low. All right. That week low happened to be where single prints in all the emotional selling came right at that week low that I spoke about yesterday. Right there was the huge drop. That's where it was initiated. No surprise. It was just value area and the overnight low, and then the market fell apart. Okay? So, regardless if it's profit taking, regardless of whatever, remember, we're in a seasonally bullish month, time of the year. Okay? Anything can happen, but probabilities are on the side of possibly getting a rally here. So, subscribe if you haven't already, set an alert if you like my content. Hopefully you can give me a big thumbs up. That'd be much appreciated. You can also follow me on X, and that's at Gonzo719. All right, so why don't we get into the futures watch list? Ether is up 3.34%, 3.43%. Bitcoin's up 1.55%. Russell is up 1%. Jeez. Russell is up 1%. Nasdaq's up 0.68. ES is up 0.52. The Dow's up 0.42. 30-year bonds up 0.13. Gold is basically flat, but up 0.05. 10-year yield should probably be flat to a little down today with the 30-year bond. The dollar is weak, down 0.35. Silver's down 0.45. The VIX is back down to 1.46. All right, and the crude is down 1.63%. Okay, so crude is getting a little weakness here. Let's move on. The stocks I like to day trade and swing trade. All right, pre-market, we got coin up 2.68%. BABA up 2%. BA, Boeing, that is up 1.71. Tesla's up 1.59. Look at these. AMD up 1.29. NVIDIA up 1.25. Micron had good earnings yesterday. All right. Snow up 1. I mean, everything's just really pushing back. Nothing is down. Out of the laggard, what you wouldn't even call, is Microsoft, JP Morgan, and Netflix. But they're still up. So this could have been a liquidation break, basically. Okay. Let's get into top sector stocks. Leading the pack, Salesforce up 1.76%, followed by Qualcomm. Semis are getting a lot of love this morning. Okay. Costco. Is there a laggard? Not really. United Healthcare finally got a huge pullback. Okay, finally got a huge pullback. That was getting very crowded at the top. Okay, probably some taking profits. Now, what happens? United Healthcare. Is this the pullback people were waiting for? Possibly. Not sure. Okay. Bottom of the list though is Exxon. It's flat though. Okay, so it's flat right there. Salesforce, and moving on to sectors. All right, this is gonna be no surprise to anybody. No surprise to anybody. Okay, so this is semis leading the pack. All right, semis are leading the pack, followed by followed by discretionary. Technology. I mean, this is just. I mean, the only laggard is energy down 0.01, which is not a laggard, right? So much strength in the market. I gotta fix these. I added Eli Lilly to my list and it moved things, but that's easy. We could do that later. What do we got for market news? Economic calendar today. Excuse me. Today we have GDP at 8:30. Initial jobless claims at 8:30 and Philly Fed at 8:30. Okay, let me just open this up to see what else. I mean, a bunch of other stuff at 8:30, but those are the important ones. And I don't see much for the rest of the day. Tomorrow we have PCE, so that should be pretty interesting. The Fed's preferred inflation gauge, personal. What does that stand for? I forget. Personal consumption expenditure, I believe that stands for. That's what's going on there. All right, I haven't had a chance to look at upgrades and downgrades. Let's look at those together. Let's see if anything to note of upgrades. Salesforce upgrade. Okay, so that got an upgrade. Explains why it's leading the pack here. Downgrade Chipotle. Ooh. Downgrade Eli Lilly. That's interesting. They're up still, but they got a downgrade to a buy instead of outperform. I mean, it's not that much of a downgrade. Wendy's downgrade. Interesting. What else? Just trying to think of stocks that are in the mainstream here. Micron, reiterated a buy. Looks like a price target from 85 to 100, 100 to 140 based on their earnings. So that's why semis are probably getting some love here. I don't know if you can see that. No, you probably can't at the bottom of the list. What else we got going here? Man, not much else I want to get into as far as news. Because a lot of people are saying there was really no news yesterday that brought the market down. It was just overextended, right? So let's get right into those daily charts. Okay, let's do that. All right, let's look at that good old SPY. And all right, so we had a decent selling day, right? Broke this uptrend, right? And then I just have anchored VWAPs here. Okay, so this is this light pink, okay, or purple, whatever you want to call it. That is the anchored VWAP from CPI print, and above that is the FOMC anchored VWAP. So that just shows the average buyer. Okay, both of those are underwater from yesterday's close. Okay, so you got 470.59 FOMC, 469.79 from the CPI print. That's the average weighted volume price. Okay, so that's like you. What I love about the volume, the anchor VWAP, is it's not like interpretive. It's based off data. So just picture that's the average buyer. Okay, so after yesterday's release, on both of those average buyers would be underwater. But where are we at now in the SPY? 470.73. We have taken back these anchored VWAPs right above. Okay, right above those anchored VWAPs. So if we zoom back out a little bit to see what we did yesterday, you see we nipped the 9 EMA daily. Haven't touched that in a while. Okay, that's one. Came down to this swing low right here. Okay, so structurally still bullish because we made the move up right here. This is FOMC. We kind of came right to the midpoint of the FOMC day. All right, that's what we did there. All right, if we switch over to the Qs, have the anchor VWAPs switch right over. Excuse me. They didn't quite hit the 9 EMA daily. Okay, and they didn't even come to this swing low. They kind of came to this day. Okay, still big selling day. Took out about 3 days. Right, where are we at now? 406. Right in the middle of yesterday's range, pretty much. Okay, so I'm going to explain something. When you get big moves like this out of nowhere, okay, it's considered sometimes a liquidation break, and sometimes that strengthens the market even more. Why? Because think about right now, market's pushing, it's pushing right back, right? So if you push back pretty violently up like this, a lot of times you just remove sellers out of the market, right? So they took their profits, and if the buyers come back in, well, now that was just a liquidation break, a pullback for a rally to go higher. It happens in intraday as well. When you see a liquidation break come out of nowhere, it's just like, whoa, what the heck was that? And then all of a sudden gets bought up, but you just remove sellers out of the market. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's what that looked like. All right, remember we're in December. The Santa Claus Rally didn't even start yet, so just have to look at that. Okay. Let's look at the bond market. I'm looking at it right now. 10-year yield is down 0.39%, down to 3.6. Let's look at that 10-year yield. All right, so we're down again. See, so the bond market's telling you the rally could still happen, right? Because the 10-year yield keeps falling. Okay, very important. Let's look at that VIX real quick. Look at that spike from yesterday. And then we're kind of still holding that spike, so we'll have to see. Little fear came into the market. Excuse me. So the dollar getting some weakness today. Okay, so it's been in a big downtrend underneath all the moving averages. Got last week's lows at 101.77. If this keeps falling as well, hello Santa Claus, right? All right, let's move on to the structure of this market, and we'll look at certain levels that we have to pay attention to. All right. Get right to the volume profile, market profile. Let's do it. Let's look at this structure. And let's look at our key levels that we got to pay attention to. So here's the ES, okay? So kind of profile we got here. We got excess here. All right. Excuse me. Large volume node. Another large volume node. Followed by another one, right? And then you don't have much excess at the top here. It's incomplete. incomplete. Okay, and then we got our sell-off. Right, took all these days out, all these days right here, starting from here. That's why it was so violent. Needed to correct that. That was just exuberance. And now, look what we have. Okay, most traded price of the week in the real-time trading session, still here, 47.65, about 47.68. Okay, so price right now is above that. Okay, price is still up right now above that. What else? Right? What else can we look at? We have to look at the midpoint of this move from yesterday. So basically, the 50% Fibonacci of yesterday's move down, right? So where's that? 47.87. That's a line in the sand. 47.87. That's the 50% retracement of yesterday's move. We're not that far from there. Okay, about 15 points in the ES to get to there. Okay, now let's look at some other notable things that I can see in the chart. Okay, what do we have? Single prints, emotional selling, right? Look where they came in. Remember, I talked about yesterday's overnight low, and it was the value area low of the day before. And I said all this volume right there. Notice where the single prints start. Look to the left, right there. Wham. That's where it really gained speed and the sell-off accelerated. Okay. So what do we have? Check this out. Now, we have a week low here. Okay. We have yesterday's close, the overnight low, yesterday's low right here. Okay. That's weak now. If we come back down here, that possibly we can move farther. All right. What else is that's the when the overnight opened. Okay. It literally has no shorts. It's 100% net long. And you're in the upper portion of the range in the overnight, and the most traded price is right up here. So that's getting pretty crowded with longs up here. Okay. So what does that mean? So you have, right, longs in here. Shorts came at bad location here. All right, so some shorts short at the lows, right? Very poor location to short at the lows, right? Now there's no short activity in the overnight. Okay, and you have a crowded trade. You have a crowded trade. Well, the GDP and jobless claims just dropped. Why don't we check that out? Because I heard large order hit my eardrum. You probably heard it too. What do we have here? So, jobless claims. Forecast was 209. We got 205. So, that's not super bullish. It's not super bearish, but again, it missed the number. GDP growth rate, quarter over quarter. Consensus forecast 5.2. Actually under 4.9. Let me refresh this. Let's see here. And then the GDP price index expected 3.5, got 3.3. So missing numbers in GDP. I don't see much happening in the market, so we're going to return back to the market profile. Okay. So you are setting up, okay, for a couple things here. And let me explain it and I'll finish it off. I might only have time to finish the ES today, so we can get a little more in depth here. So, what I'm speaking about before, okay, here is the levels to pay attention to. We talked about the 50% retracement of yesterday's move, 47.87 in the futures. Okay. Excuse me. We talked about the week low. Okay. Overnight low and the RTH low are basically equivalent. Okay. So we're 100% net long right now. Everyone from the overnight is long. We're at the top of the session. Okay. We're about to hit the single prints from yesterday, which would be emotional selling from yesterday. This is bullish imbalance here. Like this, see this profile overnight? See how it's all crowded right here? It's probably going to go like this. It's probably going to test this 50% retracement. Okay, if it does, which it's starting to move right now, it's starting to correct the profile, right? You're starting to get excess at the top. Here we go. We just got the excess at the top as I'm speaking. There we go. There's the excess. Only 6 points away from the 50% of yesterday's move. Okay. Now, once you get less and less volume up here, right? You got to complete a profile. Okay. So what could happen from what I'm talking about? Okay, this is for a bearish scenario. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. All right, so let's talk about that and just bring it all together. Okay, so if you're a bear, you don't want the market to take out 47.87. That you want that to act as a wall. You want the single prints yesterday to act as resistance. Now, single prints usually don't, but let me give you a tip. If these single prints, which don't have much volume, act as resistance, that's bearish. So let's talk about what could happen. Week low, 100% net long, right? We know everybody's long in the overnight. Okay. Most trader price is here, around 47.73. Okay. We have the 50%, the midpoint of the move from yesterday. And so if you're or bearish, you don't want to see this. You want to see sellers reemerge here. If we do this, hit it, play with it, come down, and we take out the most trader price of the overnight right here, you're going to get a move down. Okay. These are people going to have to cover their positions. And overnight players are weak. They're not big players, right? Big banks and institutions don't trade there. So then you have the most trader price of the week. Okay, you could get a move right down to there, and there's a little demand zone right here. That could be a little test. Now, this is where the week low comes in. If we revisit this week low, that could fuel the move lower. Okay, take out single prints from the past, which would be from FOMC, and test the monthly VWAP here at 46.94. Okay, I don't know if that happens, but that is a good case to look at for a bearish move. Now, see, we're pushing up even higher. 47.87 looks like it's going to be tested. Okay, now as far as the bullish side, this is looking like the liquidation break I talked about, right? The market strengthening up. This move now is basically saying we remove sellers from the market. Because look, just look at this. We closed here. Price is all the way back to the 50% move already. And you had no fight from sellers. We pretty much, like I said, 100% net long. You had a little bit here, but we're just still pushing. So it looks like a liquidation break from yesterday, because now, if sellers were strong, you probably would have stayed down here, right? So, little things you can look at. 50% midpoint. If this is a bullish scenario, right? You can get a pullback. You could test this overnight most traded price and the most traded price of the week, even dip down to that demand zone. If you hold it, well, these single prints come susceptible to get ripped, and you can come right back and fly right back into this supply. I don't know if you break out of yesterday's highs, but that definitely can fuel it. Now, see, we're still pushing higher. So, very interesting. Now, remember what I said. If this becomes resistance, these single prints, that is bearish. But generally, if you get a lot of momentum and volume and heavy buyers, these are going to get taken right out. This is poor structure, okay? That's what I'm looking at. So we're already at the midpoint almost, okay? Where it's time for the bears to show up. If they don't, this is just a liquidation break, and Santa Claus is coming to town, okay? Let's talk now about the Nasdaq. Let's see how that looks. I don't know if I have enough time to get into the detail. It looks similar, which is good. So it looks similar. All right, so this is our, now look at the Nasdaq. This is the mid 50%. It's already past that. The Nasdaq. Nasdaq also has the weak low and a demand zone from the past. Okay, so you have that. Okay, but look at the strength. Already past the midpoint. Okay, you can see here we're already by a previous low, all the way back to a previous day's low. That's just showing you that was the pullback everybody wanted for Santa Claus for right now. Okay, this is not showing weakness in this market. Okay, liquidation break looks like that's what it was yesterday. Okay, strengthened the market. That's all it did. Okay, so I don't really have to go into much scenario here. It's the same setup as the ES pretty much. All right, you have a little demand zone here. You know, it's already past the midpoint. It's almost past all the single prints. I mean, the Nasdaq is a lot stronger. So amazing. Amazing. Now, of course, you could always come into, it's also 100% net long at the top of the range. But now you're like in the middle of yesterday. It's not the biggest edge, right? If you take out these singles, the most traded price is here at 17,000, and there's a supply zone here. I'm not saying we can't come up here, but do we really fall all the way back down? I don't know. I don't know. Nasdaq is showing a lot of strength. Okay, it's up 1.05% right now. Hey, that's crazy. All right, so it's like yesterday didn't happen. All right, so that's what I'm going to be looking at today. Subscribe, set an alert if you haven't already. Okay. If you enjoyed this content, please give me a thumbs up. That would mean a lot to me. Help my channel out. You can also follow me at X at Gonzo719. Okay. So this is a crazy market. It's like yesterday didn't happen. Markets, Nasdaq is still moving higher as I'm speaking. That is nuts. Okay. So, I wish everybody good luck today. Stay green, stay patient, stay careful. This is correct. Be very careful. This is a crazy market. Okay. So, Santa Claus is probably coming. Okay. So, I wish everybody good luck today, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.